So this week we're looking at Envirotex Lite 5 years on, and we're on location in my loft. So 5 years ago I put down this Envirotex Lite. I basically mixed it as normal, quite small pots, put in some Vallejo, a bluey grey, and levered it off, a couple of pours, one to get the level and the next just to get the depth on the colour, and I went over it with a gloss medium. Now, time to fess up. I did have a few pots that didn't mix that well. If I'm honest, I obviously got one set a little wrong. It just didn't set very quick. It was usable, it just wasn't hard. So I put the gloss medium over it anyway, and what the heck. You know, seas aren't very level. Well, they're flat, but they're not consistent. They get movement, they get waves. They get differences in depth of colour because they might have different bottoms, especially in a port area like this. So I wasn't too bothered. I did one area that was a bit tacky, so I put a nice tug and a bit of froth over it. It's been fine. So no problems, and if you press the areas that are a little dodgy, a bit of a dip there, there is actually a bit of a dip there, but no problem. So not too bothered. But if we look at it in close up, we can really see there's some difference in colour. And actually the Envirotex Lite has browned in places, especially around the areas that I didn't mix properly. Has it browned in general? Well, when the whole body's done at the same time, it's hard to tell. Let's see what it looked like when I first laid it. I used a palette knife to put on the gloss medium, and you can see that isn't going to get a lot of bubbles in there. So I had a very clean finish when I first started. However, if you look at it in close up, you can see there are bubbles in the waves. And I think whilst the gloss medium was drying, which took quite a while, the Envirotex Lite gassed and made bubbles. So back to the present day, you can clearly see that the bubbles have set into the gloss medium that I put on top of the Envirotex. And there's nothing I can do about them now. They're fixed and they're set. So my sea has always been a little bubbly. In some cases, it's got worse. And you can actually see there's a giant hole in my gloss medium layer where the gas actually has blown through the gloss medium and tried to escape. Not very sure about that, but easy enough to fix with a bit more gloss medium when I get around to doing it. I think in future I'd probably wait a little bit longer before I put the gloss medium on, just to give the Envirotex time to outgas. So this is a quick view up my layout. Starts at the front, past all the froth behind the Walther's tug and along. And this is the troublesome section along this bit. It was the last bit I poured, and to be honest, my mixing was getting a little bit ropey after about 15 or 16 pours. So this is the section that has all the problems and most of the discoloration in the resin itself. This angle you can really see the brown quite distinctively where it's discoloured. As I say, I'm not worried because I'm doing a port. If I was doing a beautiful clear river, I might be a little bit more upset. So this is my upper level river. I poured it about the same time as the ocean, a little bit later, but basically it's a brown river. Much harder to tell if it's browned. I did go back, and you can see the video where I cleaned my water a while ago, and I put on some gloss varnish at that point, but until then I've had quite thin levels of gloss medium. I've not seen any bubbling in it at all. So this is my river, and as we go along you can see that it's still brown. Well, you know, it's what you expect, I suppose, from a brown river. It still looks, to me, it still looks as good as when I laid it, but it's very hard to tell. It could do with a little bit more gloss on it. I might have to go over with another level of gloss varnish. It does look a little bit dull. When I look at this close up, I've not got any bubbles. It went round the stream bed fine. It didn't bubble at the bottom. And yeah, it looks like a very good river. Still, but time will tell. So what will time tell? My friend Gerry, I was a huge fan before I met him, and I was lucky enough to meet him through the NMRA, but he was one of my early inspirations with his Bonavista Railroad, and he did water lilies and bulrushes, all of which I'll be doing over the next few weeks, and they'll all have a nod to Gerry. So you can check out Gerry Leone's website on bonavistarrailroad.com, and I certainly recommend looking at it because he's a great guy and a great railroad. So he's lent me, or given me, this photo to show you guys because he was clever enough to pour some untinted Envirotex Lite and magic water and leave it on the side. So the pot on the left is a small pour of untinted magic water done in 2007. On the right is a pour of untinted Envirotex Lite done in 1999. Now that's a long time ago. Both samples have been kept in the same closed cabinet away from any light or air drafts. So there wasn't any fluorescent lights, there was nothing else, all at the same temperature. Now, it's very clear the one on the left is still clear, the one on the right isn't. And the one on the right is Envirotex Lite. Gerry's layout before he tore it down had 2 rivers on it, and I know he was very disappointed with how brown they went because they were brown to start with, and after a few years of the Envirotex Lite browning they became muddy, which wasn't the effect he was after. He wanted a clear river. I'd be fascinated to see if anyone else has done any experiments like these with magic water and Envirotex Lite, left them in a cupboard and seen what's happened to them, because as you can see from this one, there's definitely a winner with magic water. Hi, it's N-Scale Cathy here. I thought I'd come for an explore. Do you know the other 3 said I was far too small to make it up here, so they've been up here loads and they won't take me up. They say I can't get up the ladder. It did take me a long time, and I don't want to talk about it. It was a very difficult experience getting here, but I'm here now. There's a whole city. Well, plastic bits that may one day be a city. I mean, there's a bowling alley, but it's got anything inside to play with. It's really boring. It's just an empty building. And then there's a car sales room where you can go and buy really big HO-scale cars, but there's no cars in there, and I feel a bit cheated. It's like there's a city here, but there isn't. So, Anyway, I watched the latest video. I thought I'd come and have a look. And look, it's a huge dip. I can't believe that there's this big hole in the water. I mean, look at it. Look at me. Look where it comes to on me. Ridiculous. She's going to have to get the glass medium out and fill this hole now. I mean, you don't get holes in water. It was a bit unnerving the first time I walked out on here. I was like, oh, it looks like real water. And I'm like, real water doesn't have bubbles in it. Well, not this many big ones. So eventually I screwed up my courage and I walked out, and here I am in the middle of the ocean. It's exciting. So yeah, well, there we go. Next week, something a little bit more green, I think. See you then. Bye. So this is my experience with Envirotex Lite. What's yours? Please do leave some ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what people out there are getting with their Envirotex Lite too. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to me on this channel on YouTube or on my website, kathymillett.co.uk, or alternatively, like me on Facebook, Cathy Millett Modelling. See you next week.